Hello once again, and welcome to segment 14. In this video, we will focus on a brief prayer known as Ochilah. I pray to God that I may come into your presence. Grant me proper speech, for I would sing of your strength. A person may have the best of intentions, but it is God who grants the ability of expression. This brief prayer, known as Ochilah, offers an opportunity for us to contemplate our speech, the language that we use when speaking to other people. Now, I have a lot of interest, just as other people. Sometimes there's this notion that rabbis were born as rabbis and have no outside interests. I've always enjoyed comedy. And actually, one of my favorite comics was George Carlin. George Carlin at times uses language, I guess we could refer to it as vulgar language, expressive language, a lot of expletives, as is common for many comics. But I've always enjoyed his comedy. But I think that while there is a time for comedy, and not just with the comedy, but in movies and in books, there are all different kinds of colorful language, which is simply part of our daily discourse. And I think that is fine. But we need to know that there is a line of demarcation. There is a time for speaking and enjoying this kind of speech, but there is also time for speech which is a little bit more, not necessarily formal, but proper or elegant, dignified. The Ochilah prayer introduces the major themes of the Rosh Hashanah Musaf additional service. And with those themes, we express ourselves in terms of two different types of categories. One is Ben Adam Lamakom. We will focus on those expressions, those teachings, the thoughts which are between us and our God, essentially that are internal, not affecting other people. The second kind of category is Ben Adam L'Chavero, those activities, those behaviors, those kinds of language which affect our neighbors, which are between us and the people around us. So considering that we are going to be thinking about and contemplating and chanting prayers and verses which focus on those matters between us and God and those matters that affect other people, the Ochilah is a brief prayer to introduce us to this notion that we are going to be expressing words which are very important, and this is the time to be dignified and honorable in what we say. So the Ochilah is a brief prayer, it's nice that it's brief, which enables us to enter the Alenu and the later three special Musaf sections, which with the idea that we are mindful of how we speak. And I think that that's something very important for us to understand, because language does affect people. Language can hurt. As I am recording this, we've just learned about a National Football League player who posted on social media comments attributed to Adolf Hitler, comments which clearly hurt Jews. And in his apology, there really wasn't, I think, a sincere remorse and not a full appreciation for how language can hurt. We all need to be mindful, and we certainly know that there are too many people perhaps not even recognizing that the language they use is hurtful, but too many people who use racist language in their everyday discourse and don't realize it, don't appreciate that. But I think we need to be mindful of how we speak. This football player, just by putting out this message, spoke in a manner which was not only hurtful, but was offensive to Jews. And I think all of us need to be mindful of every single word. And for that reason, it is symbolic that the Ochilah prayer is brief. It's probably it's certainly one of them, but one of the briefest prayers in the entire liturgy. But I think there is a meaning in that. Words can hurt. Even one word or a phrase or a simple expression. It doesn't require a lengthy diatribe. One word can wound. And that is what Ochilah teaches us, to be mindful of even that one word. It is not coincidental that Hebrew is known as Lashon HaKodesh, the holy tongue. It primarily referred to Hebrew as the language of prayer and ritual, but Hebrew is also an everyday language, and it's a reminder to us that we need to be mindful. When Hebrew is spoken, Hebrew is supposed to reflect that kind of dignity and honor. And I think that that's something we all, we can learn a lesson from this. There was a great rabbi, the Chafetz Chaim, who spent a lifetime writing about hateful speech, evil speech, gossip, the antithesis of Lashon HaKodesh, of holy language. And he wrote about how every word that we utter, every word from our mouths, makes a statement, and that we always need to be mindful and we need to be vigilant in what we say. There is a time perhaps to accept vulgarity, but there is a time when language needs to reflect the dignity and honor of our society. And I think Ochilah reminds us to glorify language by how we speak, and to be mindful that even one word can wound. Shana Tova.